Hey, it's Biddy Penny. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm using these two paper pads. So this one you can tell I've used before. I actually used it on a sheetload of cards, and this one's brand new to me. It's from my friend Rhonda. She sent it in Happy Mail. Thanks, Rhonda. And I'm actually going to use this one for its cut aparts, but I just love, it's called Winter Magic. I love that snowman so much, but I thought it went really well and I wanted to use these cut aparts. All right, you guys, so this is a no dies, no problem video. And we are going to be making like a 3D card. It's a lot like that Concord and Ninth card that I made for my old plus new video this month. And I was challenged by my friend Angela to make it a no dies. So I've come up with a no dies approach for this and using 6x6 paper pads. So I think you guys are going to like this one. I've cut this paper down to 5.5, and then I'm keeping the 6-inch side. So I'm only cutting the top down to 5.5. Honestly, you don't have to. You can do this with a 6x6 piece of paper that's not even cut. On the 6-inch side though, I'm going to score that at 1 inch on each side. Okay, so the base will be, in this video, 5.5 with a 4-inch back and a 1 inch on each side. I was trying to make it so it would fit in an A2 envelope, but really you need a 5x7 envelope for these, which is why you could leave it at 6 inches if you wanted to. So I'm mass cutting all of my paper. So now I have all these bases. I made 7 cards. What I was trying to do is use up this paper pad. I only had 4 sheets left that were my favorite ones, and everything else I used. Now these pieces here, these strips, ended up being perfect for my strips that I put across. So here are my dimensions. I cut the base to 5.5 by 6, and then my stacked strips are 1 by 5, 2 by 5, and 2.5 by 5. You can make this any dimension you want, but I essentially wanted to do a taper cut at 3 inches, which you'll see more of. And now I'm just kind of looking at my paper here. I'm using my ruler and I'm getting an idea of how I want to cut this paper. So I decide that, I need to cut it at 5. And then this is going to be my 2.5-inch strip. I just really liked the way that looked. Then I'm turning my paper. This is going to be my 2-inch strip. And then this will be my 1-inch strip. So you can see here, you're not going to have very many paper scraps left over. You can change these dimensions to anything you want, but this is the scraps that I had left over, which could totally still be used for something else. So I do the same thing with this one, and that way I get the most out of this paper pad. I could have also used the other side, which I actually do. I love that this paper is double-sided because these strips here that I'm trimming down, I can turn them another direction if I want. It's really nice. Okay, again, I'm scoring at 1 inch on each side here. So on the 6-inch side of the paper, I'm scoring at 1 inch. And I'm going to do that with all of these. So I definitely took a mass production style here. The other thing I want to mention is that for your strips, your 1 inch by 5 inch, those, you don't have to cut those out of pattern paper. I actually cut some of mine out of white since these are winter themed cards. So you could pick a coordinating color if you wanted a colored cardstock for these pieces. And what I'm doing here is I'm scoring all of these at 1/2 inch on each side on the 5-inch line. Okay, I hope that made sense. But you need to be able to fold them to put them in place. All right, so this is some ephemera that came in my cherry box, which it was my last one. I ended my card kit subscriptions for 2022 for now. And so I'm just trying to use up what came in my most recent box, make sure it doesn't get stashed away and doesn't get used. Okay, I think this can be the most confusing part of this card. So you can see I put a T at the top there. I did that so that I can remember which edge is my top. So there is the top crease on my card, and I had measured it 3 inches. I'm going to show you with like a double-sided piece of paper. It makes it easier. You sometimes see people do this with tags, but I just flipped it around and I marked it over here. But essentially, if you just need to mark it at 3 inches, then from the very edge there where you marked 3 inches up to the corner where the fold is, you trim with your paper trimmer, and you'll get these nice edges. These edges are going to allow you to build the three-dimensional aspect of this card. I'm showing you another way. This was the quickest way for me. Just mark 3 inches. I made, sure to know where my top was. And what I found for making 7 of these at once, that's when you find your hacks, is to just rotate your paper. So at first I had my paper upside down. Now my paper is right side up. And that gave me the perfect cut every time. I'm telling you, this can be the most confusing part. So it was because I made 7 that I really figured this out. So again, I'm going to mark it at 3. And sometimes with your paper, it can be a little hard to see, and then I'm just kind of marking my top so I know where my top is. This directional paper makes that easier, but if you're using non-directional paper, it can get confusing. I'm rotating my card now. My card is upside down. And I'm trying to see where is that pencil mark, because it was just right where that skier was. So it was just hard to see. But I've got my paper upside down and now I'm cutting it. And that just gave me the perfect line every time. And then I could go back and erase any pencil marks I had made. If you have a dark paper, I'm showing you here, you can use a white gel pen to make your marks for your 3 inches. So just whatever you need to make it work for what you're using. And again, I'm starting at the top with this one, rotate it 180, then slice off the other side. Perfect. Every time. That's the trick. You're welcome. Okay, so now I'm using my cut aparts, and I want to talk about this section because sometimes we don't know what to do with all these cut aparts. And I think sometimes we try to stick to like one paper pad and the ephemera that matches it. And we're scared maybe a little bit or intimidated or whatever hesitant to bring in other ephemera. But what we're going to do today is do that. I have these really great printables that I had purchased and I wanted variety. So I picked some that look like they're watercolored, and these are very artistic looking. And then I picked some that look like photos. Some of the circle ones, I was lucky enough to have a punch that could help me cut those out. The ones with the lined tags, I know you would normally think of that for like a gift or a junk journal or something, but actually I used those on the back of my cards to write my sentiment. So, just take things and play with them and have fun with them and find a way to make them work for you in card making. I really thought these just ended up being perfect for the amount of sentiment that I wanted to write on the back of my cards. So I used those for that. And I just think if you want variety and you want like a shabby chic or a vintage look, it's important to mix things up. We'll talk about that more. Right now, I want to emphasize something. You see how I'm using a thin tape on the very edge of this fold right here. See how I'm not just slapping it in the middle or at the top. On the 2.5 piece and the 2-inch piece, put it on the very edge like I'm doing here. And the reason you want to do that is so that you can tuck these layers into one another. So the first one I'm going to put in, of course, I want to be level at the bottom with my card base. I'm putting that back one in first. That's the 2.5. And now this 2-inch, which I've done the same thing with the tape at the very edge. Now I can tuck that in and it fits perfectly inside so that these start to layer, and it makes the card really sturdy. And it enables you to fit 3 layers of these stacks. Now for this piece, the 1-inch piece, you want to do the opposite with your tape. You want to put your tape closest to that fold, trim off a little bit, and then it just fits perfectly right here at the top. So I found 1 inch to be like the perfect width on each side to house 3 steps of this 3D card. So now I have all my ephemera in different stacks. This is how I like to work. I like to sort my ephemera out. So I've got these pieces that came from the Echo Park collection. I've got the cut aparts from the paper pads. I have the whimsical kind of watercolored pieces, and then I have my photos, my black and white photos, which are printables as well. By having this much variety, I really feel like it's fun. It's fun to add these different elements. And I really liked how in this collection that I got, now this is from Nevermore Creations on Etsy, the winter photos are. And this other one I had shown y'all, I can't think of who it is off the top of my head, but I had shown it when I was introducing the printables. Anyways, I just really like what they add. And then bringing in pieces from the paper pad, bringing in a photo, it's just really nice. Now on this one, I felt like cropping and editing this was necessary, so that's what I'm doing. I really wanted that cabin on the frozen lake to really stand out. I brought in just white paper because it's a winter card with my punch. Of course, you guys, you could do this with any theme you want. You could do this for Valentine's. In fact, at the end of this video, I'm going to show y'all the Valentine's Day card I made for my mom using this same, in fact, hers was the prototype, but using this exact same model, but just a different theme. For me, I had this winter pad that was given to me recently, that paper pad from Rhonda. I had this ephemera that came in a card kit, and I just didn't want winter to wait another year. Like, it's winter right now. Let's use it. Let's chop up our paper. Let's put it to work. Let's get it out of our craft room and into the hands of others. So I am sending these cards out to my Happy Mail recipients. I have a list going, and I just send it out a little at a time, and so here I have 7 more cards that I can send out to friends, which is super fun. I did have, I think it was Angela that asked, how do I get on your Happy Mail list? Well, you have to contact me through my website, bittypenny.com, and you have to give me your mailing address. And, just a note that you're fine with me using your mailing address to send you a card, and I'll add you to my list. So here, these are the adhesive brads that Echo Park has been doing a lot of lately, and so I'm trying to use them. Those are something that I feel like can get stashed away very easily. So I'm trying to use them, and I definitely try to use pieces that, of course, coordinated with a card. But if they were kind of wintry brads, then I tried to use those first, because I felt like I'm making winter projects. It's perfect. I might not need, excuse me, winter brads later. So use them now. And then the more solid colored brads I kind of kept, because I was like, well, I could use those for any occasion. So think of your supplies. I'm showing you here that, if you leave the paper, if you don't want to trim it down, or you're just using scraps, this one has that hang tag hole in it, and it's going to be fine because I'm going to layer another strip in front of it. I had another one that was like this, but it was the 1-inch strip for the front. I didn't even sweat that. I just put a piece of ephemera over where that hole is. And I will say, at first, when you give this a try, if you haven't made a card like this before, be patient with yourself. It takes time to figure out how you want to arrange things so that everything can be seen and nothing's covered up and everything's where you want it. Like, chances are you're typically used to making cards with a flat base and you just stick everything on top. And this isn't that much different, but you do have these 3 different steps. You can glue things to the back of the step, the front of the step, the back of the card base. You know, there's just so much potential for how you can layer on this design. But be patient as you come up with your layers. And here are my cards. So let me show you. This was the prototype. This is my mom's Valentine's Day card. I just love it. This little girl reminds me of me and my dog when I was little, and I know that's the first thing she's going to think of when she sees it. It's just so fun and vintage looking. I just know she's going to love it. I had a lot of fun making it. And by making that card and working through the kinks, I came up with these cards. Now, again, you will want to put these like in a 5x7 envelope, but feel free to work with dimensions yourself and figure out if you want to put them in an A2 envelope. I just didn't push myself to go there. Here's how I decorated the back of this one. Each one is unique. Each one is different. It's one of a kind and a whole lot of fun to make. I hope you guys will give this a try. Please let me know if you like it. If you make a video or something, hashtag me. Let me see it. I'd love to see it. Or tag me on Instagram. I'm on there about once a week, to be completely honest, or once every 2 weeks. It's so funny. I have a YouTube channel, but I'm not huge on social media. So I limit how much it is in my life. But I would love to see what you guys make. So here, I like this one so much. Like I like the artsy with the photos and then the sayings from the paper pads. I just think these are so much fun. I had a blast making them. And I have a feeling that the people who receive them will enjoy them. And I never get a winter card, so why not? You know, it's fun. Celebrate the seasons. Celebrate each day. And like with this one, I just wrote a little note on the side of the piece of ephemera. Aren't these girls fabulous? And there I just stuck the brad right on top. Sorry if you hear the trash and recycling trucks. It's that time and I'm at the front of the house today, so that's what happens. Oh, I just think they're so fabulous. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I really do hope that you will give this a try and enjoy it. So with this card, I added the tag and, you know, these little flags at the top. Really anything goes. Add texture, add die cuts. Oh, I just feel like the possibilities are endless. I really feel like this is a design that I'll revisit again and again. I mean, it all started with that Concord 9th die, which I think is fabulous, you guys. But if you don't have the resources to get it, or it's out of stock or whatever, this is your alternative. You could try this, figure out if you like it. If you love it, then you could still get the die. Whatever. But I just, you know, was challenged to create a no dies, no problem with this card design in mind, and I knew I could do it. So here are my dimensions again. Take a screenshot, give it a shot. This is a great way to use up your 6x6 paper pads and have lots of fun. Use up all that ephemera in your stash. I'll see you next time. Bye.